All right, Brave Collective, this is your November 9th, 2025 State of the Alliance. And the state of Brave is strong. Okay, this week, so this SOTA was actually pre-planned on Tuesday, and this was just going to be an interim SOTA, reminders, keeping everybody engaged, and then some big news dropped. So what was that news? The pandemic horde, they collapsed. Their leader Gobbins has stepped down, and they tried to do a full retreat, which has failed. And as you can see on the stream right now, if you haven't been keeping up with things, their staging Keepstar is in Hull. It's going to die tonight, and I hope to see you there. I will be there to get on the kill mail. And they attempted a breakout and tried to flee to Venal, and that Keepstar died as well. So now all their members' things are going into asset safety, and they Horde itself left PanFam, so that's now only Fam, or actually now it is completely dissolved, and they're going to go on their own way, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. So two small things here at the very beginning that I really want to remind you. So one, CSM voting. So we have our ballot, our suggested ballot. It's in pings, and you should have an email about it. If you don't have it, please reach out and ask. I think it's even more critical that we vote and get Dujek on there. Horde really pushed their voting with full knowledge that they had planned to dissolve their coalition. And so I think it'd be best if we had Dujek on the CSM and people that we support on the CSM. So please vote that. Please do that right now. If anyone can help and put the links in Fleet Chat, or reach out if you have questions, and people should be able to help you on how to do CSM voting. All right, and then the next reminder, which other people can help with, is so we have, with the collapse of the coalition, some corporations are changing to friendly alliances, and with that, war declarations do transfer. And so now there's the awkward situation where it looks like goons have declared war and HiSec on IGC based on a corp that joined. So please make sure that your settings for your overview prioritize our blue settings over any kind of HiSec wars. Otherwise, you might end up shooting new friends. So give me 1 second here. All right. So instead of counting you should count all rights. Actually, that's the thing that I find I say too often. So one thing, when we were with Dunk, the last time we were in UALX with Dunk, we had dropped a super fleet on PanFam, and Imperium came with us. This is ancient history now. And with that, we became the champions of Eve. And Dunk was nice enough to pass the belt of the champions of Eve down to me. And we are now a 2-time world Eve champion based on the complete collapse of Pandemic Horde. So now, whenever we want, we can wear this. We could wear it to FanFest, and we are the champions. So there you go. Dunk, this one's for you. 2-time world champions. Obviously, it helps to have allies, but we are the champions, and we will celebrate that in a glorious explosion of 2 Keepstars tonight, and the destruction of all of the drones' infrastructure going forward in the next weeks. So we're victorious. We've won. So is this, we need to make sure that we stay classy in our victory. There's a lot of people who were part of Horde. They're good people, but we felt that their priorities of their leadership and their coalition, particularly over the last years and how it relates to Brave, that was something that we wanted to fight against because we had tried. We tried in the North with B2. We wanted to be independent. We wanted to go our own route, and we saw how that went. So we had some hard lessons that were learned, but now you can trace a direct line based on the actions of Gobbins and Pandemic Horde to what has happened today. And I am very glad that we are a part of that. So when we joined the Imperium, what I wanted was us to always be that difference. And if you look at many of the battle reports between Pandemic Horde, the whole coalitions, it was often the Brave and B2, the alliances that joined the Imperium, were the difference. And so that is direct impact on the previous actions of Pandemic Horde. So let's recap how the last week went, what we thought was going to happen, and then where we are now, and then I'll talk a little bit more about Horde and us. So, I have forgotten a critical step in victory. So again, when you win the World Championship, it is traditional to celebrate. So here I have some Icelandic Brennivin. I forgot to ice it last night, so it'll be warm, which will make it a little bit more painful. But this shot goes out to Brave and our allies to victory. That's good. Oh, there's more shots. Or there's another shot, not more shots. I've got a beer too. All right, so what happened in the last week? Well, the military and I had been planning to increase the pressure on Horde because there really wasn't much pressure at Horde at the time. And Brave had been in Tenerifis. We had, the previous 6 months, we had a lot of pressure in Delve. We kind of regrouped in Tenerifis, and we were looking to increase pressure. So we had developed pages of plans for where we were going to deploy a new SIG and how we were going to supply that, who was going to run operations, where we were going to target, all of these things. And now those pages are crumpled up in the waste bin because mission success. All of that was a prelude to eventual war, you may have heard Asher say. And so we have had plans, and our war chest has been increasing for some time to have the ultimate showdown that we hoped for, and to defeat Pandemic, PanFam and Pandemic Horde. So all of that was rudely interrupted on Tuesday when Horde announced a full retreat and new leadership. So I'm just reiterating that this fall of Horde is directly tied to their war on B2. Now if you listen to their update, they're very concerned about the state of the game and the ability for alliances to be independent. So they were a primary actor over the last years in terms of consolidation of alliances into coalitions. And really the game, and you see today how the remaining alliances in PanFam have now joined Winter Coalition. So that consolidation continues. So, they're saying they want independence now, and then that's where Eve needs to go. That's great. We'll see if that really plays out for them. They are blue to initiative right now. Shine says they are not in a coalition, but for 16 weeks they are blue to them. So we will see how that relationship develops. I wish them luck, but they seem to think that old grudges disappear, and that may not necessarily be true. Being independent, as we were, does, you have to have the goodwill of others. There has to be other agreements in place if you're not, if you can't stand toe to toe with all other alliances or coalitions in EVE. So will they be able to do that? We'll see. I do want to wish good luck to Johnny. It is quite the task to be an alliance leader. Everything gets microanalyzed. It can be quite the job. Lots of people want to talk to you. When you're independent, you'll probably get lots of DMs about what larger coalitions think you should or should not be doing, and resisting that will be the key challenge for Horde's independence. To me, right now, the game has not changed enough to really support the kind of gameplay they're looking for. So for the health of the game, I hope they do well, but based on their past actions, if they don't, we learned this lesson the hard way. So good luck to Horde. It was a very spicy update for them, and if I give a spicy update, I figure that means I have to do something spicy. So today I have the Fireball Cinnamon Whiskey. I don't have any spicy food, but this will have to do. So this one is, this is to our foes, new chapter, and good luck to Johnny. All right, take your shot. If you were doing that based on what I said, all right. So for drones status, what's happening right now? We are going to glass all of drones. So there are many keep stars, structures, and sov hubs, metanoxes, all of those things will be glassed. Brave will do our best to make sure that we get back some of our cores that Horde may have picked up in the past. But over the next week or so, I really want everyone to participate at the maximum. We will stay deployed until the job is done in drones. Afterwards, if you haven't seen, there's a post that hopefully someone can link for me. The Imperium and Winterco has declared the drones a place for small alliances that are starting out to try. And that zone will be, Imperium is doing some kind of NPC structures on their own that they will provide logistics support to different ones. So that's kind of CCP never put NPC space in drones. So this is kind of Imperium's attempt to do similar. Our immediate plans, again, will be to support the glassing and finish the job. On November 18th, the thing that really the interim SOTA was meant to be was we will have a patch. There will be new mining. There will be changes to carriers, which I don't believe we've seen, or I haven't. And we'll see if that has any impact on EVE at all. We'll make sure that Brave takes advantage of it. And if carriers are awesome, then we'll have a big push for carriers. So please keep an eye out for any updates based on the patch. I know some of our miners are very excited to try out some of that. If we have to make any changes, to optimize for to accomplish those goals or any other thing in the patch, we'll get more information about that soon. And then so past glassing patch. Of course, Christmas is coming up. We will have our Secret Santa. We've also given the corporations a tax-free December, and we really want to see all the corporations doing lots of fun events. Going forward, we did have the basis of some SIGs to come pressure drones, so we'll probably use that for some deployments. I do think Brave, we ourselves need to get better at how we can project and how we can make sure that we're engaging our members with jump clone deployments and having SIGs around space. So having fun will be a big focus, as it always is. But one really nice thing that we did accomplish is just recently we killed a Blood Raider Sotoyo, which we have done before, but this time we successfully got the Moloch BPC, and we have sold it. And so now we have over a $500 billion ISK that came out of kind of nowhere, and we will be using that to reward members and make sure that we're having fun, reward corporations for participation, really push the things we want. So getting a one-time plus up of this kind of ISK, particularly at a time that we're already doing well, really lets us accelerate plans and make sure that our members are engaged and having fun. So in a little bit, I'll get back to some awards based on people that really helped out with that Blood Raider Sotoyo, and we will have to follow up for all the people that have done so much during the classing of drones. So the last topic I really want to go into before I'll take some Q&A, which will be in fleet chat or alliance chat. I'll look in both of those. You'll have to give me a second to get situated. But now is the time, kind of in this surprise post-war era, that we really need to get people engaged, stepping up and trying new things. We can take risks, and we want to get people who want to step up and try new things in Brave, or want to see Brave do better things. I really want to see people harness this energy and this victory and this feeling that I think we all play Eve for, and use that to make Brave an even better place. So with that, I'm going to mute, and I'm going to take a drink of water real quick, and then I will start looking at questions. So that is the majority we have. Oh, I do want to go over the awards. Let me dig up that document real quick. All right, sorry about that. I had to go find this list. So I do have some special call-outs today, particularly for the Blood Raider Sotoyo, which seems a century ago now. But Zunum, thank you very much for running the Strat-Op, both bashing it and killing it with subs. And then some Kiwi and the Backroads SIG had to roll all the wormholes to make sure that we could do this in a safe manner. And Haunting Deity has an unknown number of spies running that night, making sure that we knew of any hostile actions that were coming our way. I do want to say thank you to our one of our members who someone did try to loot the Moloch BPC, and we killed their freighter, and then one of our brave members, as tradition, did loot the wreck of the freighter and escape with the precious Moloch BPC before they did, and they turned that over to the Alliance, and we thank them with a couple thousand plex. So thank you very much. I have misplaced their name right now, but I'll try to make sure they get a shout out here. And finally, Combustion was also at the same time doing some counterintelligence magic and making sure that we knew of everything going along. Our whole FC team was very involved, and this kind of plus up for the Alliance is great. I'm going to make sure all of these get a piece of the pie of the Blood Raider Sotoyo, and all members will see the benefits of this event for Brave. And of course, any loot that we get from drone lands will also go towards bettering the alliance. I do want to also shout out, and we'll have more shout outs as things go, but so Kane has been really running the HELLCAMP. He's also doing a lot for the dojo and even helped me with this live stream. So thank you very much. So Kane Carnifax, you may have seen him pinging for the HELLCAMP, making sure that members can get to the HELLCAMP and get in on this action. We've killed a number of Titans and Supers. I've lost count, but hopefully someone can share some of that information. And finally, some Kiwi gets an additional shout out for wormhole work for our CTA to kill the anchoring Keepstar in Venal. All right, with that, I am going to make sure that I show the LOL here and be a little bit more interesting. And I will start answering questions I see in Fleet Chat and Alliance Chat. Yurda is asking when a KI deployment is. So I think Yurda, you're asking that because Test Alliance Please Ignore is moving to Geminate as part of Winterco's. Winterco is kind of realigning their space. They have stopped renting, which was a part of this war, by the way, is to stop the renting in drones, and Fret has now done that as well. And so K-Tech I is one jump away from Test Alliance Please Ignore. So I think we will definitely try to get in on that content. I've heard any time that you set up next to NPC space or low-sec or other things, then you are inviting SIGs to your doorstep. So we will take advantage of that kind of content. Why haven't I made a brave mural on the wall behind me? Well, there is a beautiful flag behind me. Mostly because I don't have a lot of brave artwork. I do have lots of things. I have some stickers. Let's see. I have brave stickers, new brave stickers. We'll try to get those out at some meetups. All right. Thoris Fenrir, we still crave the decisive showdown we never got. Will there be another war? So this is Eve, and so it is in a constant state of Cold War. So speaking of that actually is a good reminder for me. So we always need more Supers and Titans to be a part of that Cold War and really to flex the strength of Brave. So we had put our Supers and Titans on pause and building. Now we need to double down on building those. So we will continue building those in Tenerifis, and I really want to see this Brave fleet increase. In terms of when the next showdown that is hard to tell. Of course, there'll be two coalitions or two. Now there's two coalitions and not a coalition. So we'll see where that develops. Now, I would like to see Brave using our capitals more than we have. I was really looking forward to it. We have used the year to really arm our Dread cache. So before it was a replacement cache of hulls, and now it is almost a fully armed cache of Dreads. I want to see those get used, so we will be looking for opportunities to use those as well. You're just asking if the dojo compliance officer is coming out to make sure the Keepstar is compliant. I will see if I can make that happen. Right now, the dojo compliance titan is in UALX, so it is a little bit ways away. The compliance officer herself might make an appearance tonight. I will be at the Keepstar kill. In terms of the Keepstar kill, this Keepstar is going to die. I don't think there's any plans to defend it, and we will die it. For my EU friends, I know it is very, very late, but I would love for you to be a part of killing this and having this kill mail on your record. But it is Sunday night, so consider your schedule. I hope to see as big a fleet as I can, but it's really difficult for me to ask you to stay up for an uncontested bash. Mobius says, are we staying in Tenerifis for the foreseeable future? So yes, we have no plans to move. We're not moving to drones. Goons aren't moving to drones. So we're moving. Now, whenever I say that, I do want to emphasize, if the game changes, then things can change. So people have different foreseeable futures, and your leadership, just as we had to make hard decisions when we were in the north, we made decisions when we were in Quirius and Delve. I hope, based on our success on moving everybody and the content that we've had, that you will understand if we have to make a different decision at a different time. But right now, I don't see us moving. Ronnie Delacourt, yes. Is there a way to park my flycatcher near here and bring a Megathron for the dash? So it's I don't think we have a Megathron doctrine. We'll probably ask you to be a doctrine, but there is an Astros here, and we also have a POS. People have been very kind in leaving their ships in the POS. One thing I will say is, if you have lost a ship in RTAC A, or if you've left a ship and you weren't able to get it back, then go ahead and apply for SRP. If you just left your ship, just make sure that you give a nice story, maybe a poem, maybe a short song to the SRP crew, and explain what you've done, and then they can SRP you. Arthur Hawking says, will the upcoming carrier change to impact our permissions to use them for home defense and maybe get SRP depending on finances? So we do plan to have 100% carrier SRP. We don't really know what the changes are, if they're good or bad. Like, are they fitting for fleets or more for small gang or something? And of course, we'll SRP uses of carriers that are based on fleet commanders and necessity and things like that. But there's not going to be carrier SRP for standing use. But if FC calls for carriers, then of course you're going to be SRP'd. Error Vibrant says, will our space change in any way? So really, everyone is focused across the coalition. Everyone is focused on glassing drones. There will be, obviously, this is a change. The sands of Eve are shifting, so there might be some changes. We, of course, just picked up Faith. That space is almost fully upgraded, and when we return from glassing drones, will be available for crabbing. So Frapnan says, hi there, I'm new to Brave, and one of the main criticisms I've seen online of Brave from people who've washed out is that comms are dead. Has any thought been put into how to mitigate this and foster community, especially among new members? So in Standing Fleet is the main place that comms are. It is definitely time zone dependent. Personally, I think this is where we have to remind people of the classic phrase of shut the fuck up, because standing comms often doesn't have enough people giving room to other people to talk. But standing comms is where we want people to hang out, and we want people pinging fleets and entertaining there. I haven't really seen this, but I just wanted to address your questions because you've said it. If there's a move coming up, is it as a result of Imperial politics or simply for the love of the game? We love a good move op. Brave has had very successful move ops. In fact, we've done a full circle of Eve, which almost deserves its own award on itself over the last few years. But no, we don't right now. Yeah, there could be Imperial politics. We're not going to move just because we enjoy jump freighting, though. Thoros Fenrir will find the person that stole their Raven. They'll find you, or Thoros, you can just apply for SRP and we can SRP you a Raven. It's not a big deal right now. Kenrian asks, do I mind that they're gonna wake up to kill the keep and go back to bed? No, of course not. I would love for all of Brave. I want to see as many Brave on the keep as possible, but I really don't want to. You shouldn't impact your life but this is a moment in EVE that I think you won't forget, so I'm going to be there myself. Is there going to be a temporary pause on moon taxes while we glass? I did a bunch of mining right there before the start and haven't been able to sell that yet. Don't worry. I mean, you mine, so you've got the value. There's no one's going to come hunt you from taxes during this time, so just pay it later. That's fine. What does being on deployment look like? So being on deployment, so there's kind of different kinds of deployment. There's a jump clone deployment or a death clone deployment, and really that is having in a far off place is usually many jumps away that you can't shuttle to. It's a way for us to form brave, and we really need, if we're going to do a deployment, we want to see good numbers for this. We want effective fleets. So you want to be able to call for jump clone, have people immediately show up, have it be a priority, and then you go looking for content kind of across the map. That's what a deployment looks like. A death clone deployment, that's similar to what we are right now, where we ask people to be very close to RTAC A, in CTAC J at least, and be able to get here. If there was a fight, then your death clone takes you back to CTAC J. You're able to get back into a ship and back into the fight immediately. If you death clone back to ULX, you'd have to shuttle. It'd be many jumps. So that's kind of the difference in deployments. Any thoughts on how PH fail skating will affect Brave's relationship with Goons and Imperium? So obviously, Imperium has lost one of its peers. So we will see how that affects the game altogether. Horde has lost, I think, 5,500 or so as of this SOTA. It's been going up. If you watch on Dotland, you can see the different corporations stuff leaving. I think they do have a hard go of it. They have a lot of members that have been in drone lands for almost a decade, and now they're asking their members to live in Cloud Ring and to be in not a coalition with Initiative, are they joining the war with Fraternity? We will see. So all these things are too early to really declare how those things will affect Brave. But in terms of what it would take for us to go on our own, if that's like the root of this question, the root things that we found that were difficult in the north haven't really changed. I would like to see some action from CCP and not have to rely on the good graces of alliances or favors or anything like that. We need to be able to punch back to anyone who asks anything of us that we don't like. Otherwise, you're signing agreements, you're signing away. You're in a coalition, there's just documents behind that. Similar to like what Delve and Query is right now. There's some fun things happening over there. We may get involved if they keep pushing on Dracarys, but in terms of how anything affects Brave right now, there's no impact. Art Hawking asks, when we will get rid of Ferrix navies? You have to keep in mind when he asks this question, he has a Minotaur bias. So Ferrix navies are not nearly as popular as they were, but I do leave all those kind of decisions up to the FCs. After this keep goes down, are Fun and Skirm fleets back? Are we going to remain on Beacon 1? So we will remain on Beacon 1 probably at least for the next week as we glass the drone lands. We really want to make sure that we are helping the Imperium just set a clean slate over here in the drone lands. How long will a free kill take? Like an hour or 3? So Crux. So this is where we are. Yeah, it depends on the tie-dye, as Sandep said. It really depends on how much tie-dye we cause ourselves. We'll probably ask different people to do different things to manage that tie-dye. I think there's going to be a lot of excited people to be on this kill. Sometimes after Keepstar dies, there's people who are logged in because they were watching, and then they, of course, drop. Hopefully this stream doesn't warn too many people and we still get some of that. When do we run a full Hick fleet to make use of all these Hicks we have? Super glad to see all the hicks that we have. I'm in one myself here, looking at the LOL and the keep stars. And when will we have a full hick fleet? There's been some debate about this actually with the FC team. I don't think we will, just they haven't really performed as we needed. But being able to have more members in Hicks, having the special snowflakes, that's always something that we need. So super glad to see people get into those. Yeah. Kinji Ashoka asks, is this the place to ask questions for the SOTA? Yes, it is. Peter Lloyd Tyler asks, you're 3 constellations deep in Venal and N's mother is 3 constellations deep into you. Are you moving forwards or backwards? I need more context for that exact one. I'm not picturing it. Block politics and existential threats notwithstanding, how would you like to see the landscape of Eve and Brave in the next 1 to 2 years? So that's a huge question. So my number one focus for Brave is always having fun and bringing people into the game and making sure that we can access all the content within Eve. Okay, so within the context of all the things with blocks, that's what I'd like to see. But when we see the continual consolidation of alliances into these mega coalitions, we already tried for years to resist that, and until we see some opportunity that makes that more enticing, and we have and we really have that drive to do it because of that enticement. We're not doing that right now. Of course, things can change. All right, Kinji Ashoka, you asked a new long one, so I'm going to read it here. So Kinji, you're asking for a kind of an overview of Eve politics. Yeah, we've seen that in the past. There is an overview of Brave's history on the wiki, but we'll work with Dojo and see if we can get somebody to kind of give a history of Eve and how we've ended up where we are. You're to ask if I like their devoter, of course. Error Vibrant asks, will we have our own beehive-like umbrella? So we may have fleets that are cover fleets. The umbrella really implies saves, and until we are capable of addressing any threat that could come through a wormhole, we are not going to promise saves like an umbrella would, but we will try to cover. We'll try to cover important moons. We'll see what these new mining ops look like. But in terms of umbrella with full SRP for the crabbers, we're a long way off of that. Really, if we want to see that, we need to see members being able to have one character on standby in combat ships and ready, and then also taking advantage of any PvE. So if that's what you want to see, then we need to, when FCs try different things, you really need to be joining. You need to make sure you have a character that can do both things. Armed Assailant asks, how many shots until you start twerking? I was told there would be twerking. You will be sorely disappointed, but I will drink this beer that you can hear is overflowing right now. But I don't think I'm going to get to the twerking point. It is Sunday afternoon. All right. Cumbus asked me to remind folks to apply for space jobs. I, of course, have done that. We always need more space workers. So if someone can link in Fleet, there is a wiki page that probably needs to be updated of space jobs. But the thing about space jobs that I really want to say is if you see something in Brave that needs to be done and is not being done, or could be done and could be fun, those are the things that, sometimes it's hard for us to see a change in process. I try to be as open as possible to new ideas, new SIGs, and new ways. Usually if there's a financial investment, I will ask you to make the case on, why this is something that Brave should spend ISK on. But I try to be as supportive as possible. The Brave Dojo always needs more people to help out. There's gonna be a lot of new people joining Brave, I think, and we need to make sure that we show them the Brave way and really double down on what makes Brave a good place to play EVE. Broadcast, when you say glass the drone lens, how long does Imperial leadership anticipate this will take, and what does it actually entail? Are we reffing killing solving every Horde renter asset in every drone land region? Yes, we are doing that. Really, that we've had really good engagement. Of course, our Imperium friends have had really good engagement. So it should not take long. The fact of the matter is the timers will probably be the biggest issue in terms of how long things take. We have to ref things and they come out of reinforcement. I think there's something like 7 to 9 keep stars. We've got a few that are refed already. We have to kill all of the iHubs. That's in process for a lot of them. And then we want to make sure that we get all the cores and all those things. So really, it's probably a week to 2 weeks maximum is my prediction. Probably more realistically, a week to 10 days. So Arter has asked me to check contracts. I might be afraid to do this on stream, but sure, let's do that. How bad could it be? Oh, I sent a contract to I tried to give out skins. This is embarrassing. I sent a contract to myself. So don't do that. Arter has given me some contracts. So I try to, when I get on, I try to give out some skins to fleets. Hopefully that is a nice little thing I can do for everybody. So if you do have, I get plenty of skins, but if you have skins to donate, please do send them to me. They can be preferably in JITA or UALX, and I will give those out to members on fleets. And I'll definitely give out some tonight for the Keep Star Kill. Chursophus, many people were expecting this to be a hot tub stream. Well, let me see what I can... No, I'm not doing that. All right. All right, I'm going to flip over to Alliance chat here. Oh, I missed some questions here. So Storm Carmine asked, are we expanding the crusade against Frat, not for conquest, but for coalition dismantling? Init and Goons are about the only groups I trust to step away from the Blue Donut polarized universe. So, Imperium is very large, so we're not innocent in terms of alliances grouping up. But, asking us to unilaterally disarm after we've already attempted to do that in the last few years is very difficult. So are we expanding the crusade against Frat? So they are far in the north. Some people have some grudges. Test Alliance is moving very, very close to us. They're at war with Initiative, and maybe that means Horde now. No one's quite sure what their not a coalition means. So we'll see how that develops. Are we declaring war on general all-out war on Frat right now? No, I don't think we are. Someone asked me to keep the leather jacket on in the hot tub. So I'm sorry to disappoint everybody. Malin asks, why doesn't Imperium move to the NPC-free drone lands and leave other space, the current space, for the smaller entities? So we all just moved 6 months ago and have put significant investment here. Drones does offer some features of having no NPC space, but if you actually look at the map, The critical space that Imperium holds has a lot of those same features right now. And if not, why don't we Brave separate from Imperium and to live there? So the conditions that had us join the Imperium have not really changed. Even with Horde leaving PanFam, a lot of the antagonists there that saw the escalation that we experienced as trying to be an independent entity has not really changed. And so stepping out on our own at this point, we would need to see Brave having more in fleet, having more FCs, and really for CCP really to provide that incentive to do this on your own. We fought so long against the consolidation and saw all the pitfalls there that I personally am not gonna lead you into something that might be a few months of fun of setting up new space and then a failure because the game really hasn't changed and it's really going to be a bigger group that's going to come and see you as a target. Ronnie's asking again, can I slow burn a Megathron to Artec A? There are gate camps on the way, so just be careful. Watch for move fleets. I think there may be a move fleet starting with goons for capitals, I heard, in a few minutes. But watch for pings. Don't move anything on your own over regionals. All right. Well, with that, I will keep streaming for a little bit. I'm going to try to... Actually, we're going to take a short break, and I'm going to see if anyone in the leadership team wants to say anything, and I'll try to bring them on. That might take some technical doing. So I'll put some words up here. If you want to hold on, we're still gate camping, hoping for someone to try something on the undock here at the Keepstar. And we'll do that. Okay, a couple more questions popped up. Malin, are there plans about stopping Winterco to take the drone lands? Winterco will not be taking the drone lands. They have signed on to an agreement with the Imperium to allow small alliances to live there. They've said if someone takes all of the drone lands, then they are declaring themselves a valid target. So that's kind of what I'm talking about when I talk about the desire for small independent group is that you're living on the goodwill or these agreements of larger coalitions. And when we were independent, that's when we tried to have no agreements, but that's when you get DMs, you get threats from Gobbins in particular was often saying, "Oh, why were you working with so and so? Because you did that, I'm going to have to." Now I'm going to send more fleets to your area. So living under someone else's agreement is not my idea of independence. Mercy, any word on who is moving to drones? Have any groups spoken up? We saw on Reddit there was some group of ex-Horde who says we're staying, but in terms of groups that are moving there, no, we haven't really seen that yet. Twyla asked about, do we have any centralized info on buyback programs? All that information we try to keep up to date on the wiki. For anyone new who wants to run their own buyback, we try to make sure that is fine. You just have to contact the wiki team and get on the buyback. Okay, I'm gonna mute here and take my camera down for a second and see if I can get anyone else who's available that wants to say anything. So, before that, I guess I should say, I really appreciate all of those that have been on this journey with Brave with us the last few years. Getting back and killing this Keepstar is something that kind of completes a story, or at least an arc in Eve for me. So I want to say, stay classy, have fun, and be brave. Okay, I'm going to take a minute and see if I can get anybody else on stream. All right, so I've got Shattered with me here. In terms of how this works from a stream standpoint, I am definitely not a professional streamer. So I'm going to try to unmute him and mute myself. If that doesn't work, I'll try to watch YouTube chat. If you have any particular questions, these are great questions for doctrines or upcoming operations. For Shattered, please put those in the chat now.
Hello, can you guys hear me? All right, broadcast asks Scary Terry's when they are kind of our heavy-hitting home defense doctrine. When we have a use case for them, we will, but it's always good to have them fitted up, ready to go. And I gotta mute the stream. Jinx, could you please turn me up a little bit? Or maybe I'll just speak up louder.
I got you now.
Oh, there we go.
I turned off the music.
Okie doke. Yeah, any questions specific to what we're doing with fleets? Obviously, as you know from the current beacon status, our main priority right now is supporting the HELLCAMP, getting ships moved into RTAC A, getting our capital and super fleet pre-positions in the AJC Keepstar, so we're ready to go for any structure bashing that goes on in the future, because as you know, that is my favorite activity in EVE. Rux asks, will we keep armor in CJ and shield in UAX after grassing? As of now, just to keep doctrine staging and support ships, to make it all simple, we are going to keep our armor doctrines on the front line for heavy hitters. There's going to be lot of cleanup to do. After the Artec A Keepstar dies, we're going to be setting up some offensive, probably sectors of the drone lands that Brave is going to focus on glassing. Definitely join those fleets if you can. Get a lot of opportunities to mess around with big toys, that sort of thing. More to follow, really. We're kind of just playing this by ear because, as Jinx mentioned, it was a little sudden, this shift in our planning. We were looking at, again, a prolonged siege of the drone lands that would have taken us up into early 2026, and now it just seems like it's all kind of gonna wrap up within the next couple weeks. So Altera, yes, dreads are always the capital training priority. More dreads is always a good thing. You can never have too many dreads in your fleet. That said, anybody who now is in the position of looking at possibly getting into their first super, that is always something else that we would love to see more of for people planning out long-term in their long-term playstyle or want to get into one of those big toys. Also, we've got the carrier rebalance coming up in a few weeks. We're going to see some apparently new utility that CCP has teased about that. So we'll see if carriers are somewhat more effective on the battlefield going in the future. But yeah, as of now, dreads and possibly supers would be the probably your two big end game training priorities, procurement priorities. Obsidian asks, keeping track of upcoming timers. So Brave's timer board is specific to things that we are tracking at the Alliance level. That would be like timers we have on the go inside our borders or stuff that we're pursuing at the Alliance or SIG level, because everything going on in the drone lands right now is a coalition effort. We're using the centralized timer board for the Imperium to track it, which isn't really a publicly accessible timer board like ours. But your best bet is to just look out for pre-pings, and I will make sure the FCs are pre-pinging the major objectives. So like the XL structures, the key sob hubs, that sort of thing. Thoros, why NC or test take space? Panthan is leaving. So Geminate was always a bit of a weird one because it's sort of a border between the drone lands and what's currently Winter Coast space. Test moving into Geminate, a little bit of head scratching there what their end game goal is for that, but either way, it's good to, it'll be good content for us having them right on our front doorstep, because KTAC-I, which is only a few jumps from CJ, is only a quick regional crossing over into what soon will become test space. So yeah, we'll see what opportunities for us to shoot people come up from there. Capricia asks Storm asks, how are we prioritizing burning of drone lands versus home defense? Burning the drone lands is the priority. When it comes to home defense, primarily what we've been looking at right now is dealing with things like roaming gangs and large mining ops, that sort of thing. Not a particular huge priority right now. And again, like I said earlier, like Jinx said, this is going to be wrapped up fairly quickly. So within the next 2 weeks to month, we will be back home in UALX making all kinds of money again. Will Arter asks, will military leadership support jump clone deployment staging in and around Clown Ring for future content? If we do, it'll be just a SIG. Because as we know, as long as you deploy just a SIG to hostile space, it doesn't actually count as an invasion. Kratos, as long as you're in the combat super SIG, instructions for how to apply to that SIG are on the wiki. We will have lots of opportunities in the coming weeks to put the big toys on grid. Fleets get to Artec A. We have been picking move up fleets. The little one was, the last one was, I think, earlier this morning. Again, just watch your fleet pings in Slack. If you're having issues with push notifications not going through on Slack, double check your app on your phone as well as your desktop app, because sometimes the notification options there can cause some issues with you not receiving push notifications on your desktop. I think there's a little blurb about it on the IT section of the wiki. May asks, how did the mighty PH crumble so fast? So, someone made a good summary of that. I can't remember who it was. It was up on Reddit earlier this week, but essentially it comes down to this slow push that we as a coalition have been doing, getting closer and closer to their borders. Taking the southern half of, or taking Ethereum, the places we took earlier this summer, and then them claiming it's floodplains, not really making a effort to defend them, setting up on their southern border, and then just starting to essentially just farm the border regions for content. What this led to is we now have a coalition that is not necessarily backs against the wall, but the first time in essentially their history, they're facing a existential threat. Gobbins obviously has been the leader of Pandemic Horde for close to a decade now. I'm sure Jinx, Asher, anyone else in a leadership position can tell you that can be pretty physically and mentally taxing on you. Anyone who's been in that job really knows that it does put a lot of stress on your shoulders, and looking at the potential of a full-scale invasion was not necessarily something that Goblins was ready to commit to. Normally what would happen in this instance is he would find his second in command or find another team to kind of take over, pick up the mantle for him, as we've done in the past with Kigali and Dunk and now Jinx, when that stress of leadership gets too much. But in Goblin's case, he decided to kind of take the money and run, I guess you could say. So rather than plan for the loss of your space and plan for the eviction, Horde decided to instead just I don't want to say abandon their membership, but definitely there was a lot of leadership failures that led to them not properly supporting their members, especially when you're running a Nubro Alliance and a lot of your members don't really understand how these types of situations play out and what to be done when you're facing an eviction and having to evacuate all your assets.
I think that is a big question to me. Is they've been making ISK and drone lands for 10 years. ISK is not everything. Morale is more important than ISK, but you can buy a lot of morale with ISK. So where the ISK is, I think, is a question.
And it's a question we're probably never going to see answered. Okay, Ark asks, PH, no. Thoros asks, will we see a shift in doctrine to combat the new enemies on the border? We've been trying not to make too many adjustments to our doctrine lineup, just because we do play a little bit of hot potato when it comes to keeping ahead of the meta. As many of you remember from Delve, we had to be very fast and furious with things like the CFI changes, the faction destroyers, all the little tweaks that CCP were throwing at us last year for having to adjust to a quickly changing meta. But obviously that when you have people trying to train into ships for the first time, that really throws off your training priorities. Suddenly you spend a month and a half training into a particular hull, and now all of a sudden we're switching that out for another hull that's become our main, fleet ping boat. So we tend to want to, if possible, because right now we're not exactly in an existential need to stay on the cutting edge of the meta. We like to see how things how the chips fall before we make big changes to our doctrines and throw everyone's training queues off. But right now, like the way we're standing, we have a pretty good lineup for answering most threats that we're seeing in nullsec currently. Let me check the stream real quick. Anti-cap, subcap, fit dreads. Anti-cap definitely. If you're fitting up a subcap dread, that's probably the one you're going to be using for running crab beacons. Just have one of each. You'll make the money back pretty quick once you start running in Beehive. Yeah, Alan on the stream. Yeah, so the keep is still standing. The keep is still standing for another 7.5 hours or so. Sonic asks, possible I can set a small gang quick response with projectile interdiction calming quick response. Yeah, so, yeah. Well, I have everyone here. Captive audience, you might as well be reminded that anyone in Brave Collective can ping fleets. Anything on the wiki listed as a fun fleet doctrine or any ship type of your choosing up to 50 million ISK reimbursement is eligible for your FCing pleasure if you want to get your feet wet. The dojo will also pay you pretty generously for running your first 3 fleets. I don't remember the exact number. I think it's like 700 mil or something like that across 3 fleets. Nice little boost of ISK, and I believe they still do Talwar handouts too. But I could be wrong there. Oh, there it is. Thoros said 1 bill across 3 fleets for running your first 3 fleets. Yeah. Cumbus asks, can you talk about how it felt seeing the ping from Goblins initially, and if you thought it was real? If it was bait to try and force PanFam to try and force Imperium to slip up and come right underneath their super umbrella, it was a very good one. But I think the fact that it was not met with a proper response, as I do like to tell Standing Fleet all the time, bait is not very good bait if you don't have something on the other end of the hook. There was some writing on the wall. I can't get too far into it, but there was certain I don't even want to say signs. It was just like, yeah, it was kind of telling that Horde wasn't actually willing to commit to defending drone lands.
Well, but Clank said that you heard the news before seeing the ping, and I will say, people wondered about why PanFam was responding the way they were, why they were moving to RTEC A. They actually just moved from MJ to E8 and then announced this move to RTEC A. Now we know that that was part of their general retreat, but they had sold it as improving their Pan Crab, which was their super umbrella, to get members to move towards Venal. And of course, that move to Venal has failed. Where their Venal Keepstar died, their MTO Keepstar is going to die. This Keepstar is going to die. So, is love. I mean, as much as anyone would love to claim credit of knowing in advance, the number of people who knew were very, very few. It sounds like Shines has said that he knew, but the Intel network. I'm not going to claim that we knew in advance that.
No, it was just there was a lot of head scratching going on when they deployed then they shifted over to our attack A, because it didn't provide any strategic benefits to the staging they currently had as far as actually putting up a defense. And if anything, it looked like they were just moving the goalposts further back so they could start taking losses in Eastern drone lands and stuff without actually claiming to care about that space. Which is again a tried and true tested nullsec tactic of just moving the goalposts.
with daily fights in GTAC Q, it just almost didn't make sense to put themselves out of jump range from there. We saw that in Queris and Delve. We saw that in the north. Anytime that you have to mid and your enemy can just gate a couple jumps, then you're going to be at a disadvantage. So for them to move back to RTAC A was very strange. Crux asks, was the anomaly mining tax their first sign? Well, they tax and rented every single thing, so, no, but the anomaly taxing was a lot. All right, Bryce asked, does Brave receive many applications for more Horde refugees? We have seen some, and I do want you to welcome anyone who was in Horde to Brave. We, of course, anyone who was on a blacklist or something, we wouldn't welcome, but anyone who is just playing EVE and wants to have fun, we want to welcome into our community. Often you stick with who you've tried first. So we want to show them a different form of leadership, a different form of having fun and playing EVE. And so just please welcome anyone who does come from Horde. We do have a new corporation that we should welcome from Navy. So we're glad to see them. And anyone else who wants to come from Horde is of course welcome. And I personally, if you think about the individuals, like when they lose a Titan, that's difficult. That's hard to do, having a loss like that. Now at the coalition level, of course, we're happy for the win. So yes, welcome to Soft Paws with Claws. Abernie asks, is the HELLCAMP justified as it's ever been to us in the past, and did PH try and negotiate with Imperium for safe extraction? So is it justified? Yes. This coalition has stood against Brave for many, many years. And if you look at the full history of Brave, Horde is actually an offshoot of Brave, and was formed because after PL attacked Brave and Brave would not submit to being their feeder alliance, PH was stood up. So this is kind of brings them full circle. PL, their parent alliance, left them in September, and shortly after they failed. I guess PL leaving might have been the biggest hint that something like this was coming. So has this been done to us in the past? So there's definitely been hell camps. We saw when we were on a different side of things in M2. It's usually focused on Titans stuck in space. I think we saw a similar bubbled structure when CO2 Keepstar was flipped, and that was many, many years ago. So it's not the first Keepstar to be bubbled in such a fashion. Did they try to negotiate with Imperium for safe extraction? I really don't think I can't speak for Asher, but what I know of Asher, what I know of Imperium, there is nothing that PanFam could have offered that would have given them safe extraction. Yeah, Clank, you can bring a squall to loot skyhooks. That's fine. Malin, of course, anyone who joined us, we would help try to get them to extract. That takes careful planning, but we would try. All All right, we've been going almost an hour and a half. I'm almost through my beer. So, Shatter, do you have anything else?
Nope. Keep joining fleets. See you tonight for the killing of the Horde Staging Keep Star. Going to be a big one. And yeah, see you in the next one.
Yeah, so there's two keep stars tonight. So Artak A, I think, is the biggest impact. If you just really want to get that moment and that kill mail, that's the one. For the late crowd, there I think E8 is at 0300, so that will be a little bit later. So I really want to see a good participation of Brave on both of them. So do that. But for my EU friends, please make sure you sleep. Bryce asks, has Dunk Deagle reached out to Brave leadership? So let me put the camera on for a second here. All right. So as I said, Dunk and I talk occasionally. He's enjoying retirement life as he deserves. But Dunk did message me and remind me that it was time for us to once again put on our Brave or Eve World War Championship belt and enjoy the victory. All right, Crom, I of course never forget the shrimp. I always want everyone to get more shrimps. Eating shrimp on stream was on camera last time was fun. I didn't make it in time for today, but I want everyone to make sure they get in fleet. And when we're done glassing this, I want to see really high participation for the glassing of drones. But really, when an FC pings and they ping for content, I really want to see a Brave that's wanting to project out and engage all of Eve has to offer. So I am going to in stream soon, and so I'm going to. Oh, I got one more question, and then I have to stop. It's good. 2 more minutes. Ghost Nisk, you're saying, what's my system config? I did buy a new computer this February, so it's been nice to have with this, and of course, then I zoom all the way out, so all you see are these little tiny things. But having a nice computer does help. Malin asks, is there a seahorse emoji in Slack? If there's not, then someone should add one for sure. But I think the man riding a shrimp is the most important emoji that we have. Okay, while I'm on camera, I want to say thank you all again. If you are catching up on this, the fact that you watched an hour and a half of Brave is amazing. I love this community. The things that I do and the things that other space workers do is because we love this community and this game and the experiences, the highs and lows that come. So right now we're on a super high, and once again, I'll just say stay classy, have fun, and be brave. All right, I'm gonna end the stream. Shattered. I'll be here in a minute.